Today we're working on Prayer from Hansel and Gretel from the book Solos for Young Violists by Barbara Barber. Welcome back. Welcome to the studio. My name is Cassie and I'm a professional violist and teaching artist. So today we're going to do a tutorial through this piece first, and then we're going to do an at-tempo playthrough because it's a slow piece. If you want to skip ahead to that, check in the comments. I do put timestamps down there. And if not, if you want to do the tutorial, we're going to get started on that right now. If you're interested in having my bowings and fingerings, I do post those on my Patreon page, so if you're interested in becoming a member of that community, we'd love to have you. Check in the comments below, and I've got a link there as well. Alright, so at the very beginning, we've got a note indicating second time and first time. So because we have a repeat, we're going to play open G the first time through, and on the repeat we'll play third finger G. So getting started, a lot of this piece is about expression and bow distribution and shifting. There's a lot of shifting in this piece. So I'm starting in first position, and I'm going to start at the middle of the bow, not the frog, because it's quiet and I don't want to use the same amount of bow for every single slur in this piece. I'm going to shift to third position here. Now if you're new to shifting, I have a video on that I'll post in the comments below as well. But basically we want to hide our shift, and it's really difficult to do because it's under a slur. What we don't want to hear is all that goop inside there. So what I'm doing is I'm depressing the string. I'm using finger weight when I have to actually play the note, when I have to play that B. I'm releasing the finger weight and then resetting it when I've reached the correct note. Now I know it looks like I'm shifting with my 2, but really my 1 is my guide finger. So what I'm doing is shifting to third position with my 1. I'll show you at this angle too. So we always want to shift to a position, not to a finger. That gets us into trouble if we do that. So if you need to stop the video and do a quick, practice or review of how to shift, I advise that you do that right now. The rest of us are going to continue on. So I'm going from the beginning. Shift. Get your 1 set. We're staying in third position. Now I'm shifting backwards to first position. Every note gets a different length of bow here. So really in that measure, my bow looks a little bit like a Z or a zigzag. I don't want to use full bow, full bow, full bow. It gets seasicky, so we don't want to do that. So I'm using, let's say in inches, I'm using 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, 7 inches. And that's going to help me create a little bit of shape to the phrase, a little crescendo there, and a little bit of interest to the line. Starting in measure 6, full bow, crescendo, and then I'm going to shift in the next measure to third position. First position, stay at the tip to finish that phrase quietly. Rehearsal A, I'm going to shift back to third position and set my low 3. Still third position. Cross to the D string with a 1. Now where this F sharp is, I'm going to scooch back a half step and then back up a half step. So let's isolate that measure we just talked about with the G and the F sharp. We're going to start in third position, scooch backwards, and then back up. So really that distance is not very big, G to F sharp, so don't feel like you have to go back all the way to first position. It's a half step shift backwards. Very close right there. Continuing on in the next measure, that's measure 12. Stay in third position, cross to a 3. Crescendo, more bow. Use that rest to shift back to first position. Shift to third position. Cross your 3. Rehearsal B, we're going to shift back to first position. Shift to third position. Leave your 1, cross your low 2. They're going to be touching across the string. So again, that measure is 3. Leave your 1, cross your low 2 to touch. And then that next note is back to first position. First ending. Back to the beginning, but this time we play a 3. Etc. So we're going to start in the second ending. So if you've never seen this before, the 1 with the little bracket, that means first ending. So the first time through, you play that music, you repeat back to the beginning. You play the whole piece again, and then when you see that first ending again, you don't play it. You play the second ending. So we're starting in the second ending, which is measure 21. We're in first position here. We're going to shift to third position. Now this would be a really great place to do an expressive shift. So I'm going to use my third finger. I'm going to sound it a little bit before I hit that note. So it should sound like this. So I'm hearing a little bit of the shift there. I'll demonstrate a little bit closer. So very light finger weight. Now we don't want to start all the way at first position, so that would be the note G. We don't want to hear all of that. I'm starting maybe a half step to a quarter step below B and sliding into that note. Now rehearsal C, we just stay in third position. Cross 1. We're going to use fourth finger G here. Cross 3. First position. Open. Crescendo with a little bit more bow. Retardando to the end. So we've mainly addressed a lot of shifting and fingering issues thus far. The other thing I want to talk about is your use of bow. We have a couple of different expressive tools, and the bow is going to be a really big one. I've heard it said that we actually play 2 instruments. We play the viola and we play the bow. And if you think about it, if we didn't have the bow, we'd have to pluck everything, and we can only be so expressive with plucking. So you want to be really cognizant or aware of all of your bow distribution issues that we have in this piece. It's really easy to just kind of saw through it and use the same amount of bow for every single slur. But like the previous piece that we worked on, it can sound a little bit seasicky if I do that. So I want to make sure that I'm making a bow plan. So at the beginning, our dynamic is piano, and it says sempre, which means always, always piano, always quiet. So I don't want to start. That doesn't really give much expressive feeling to this piece. So I'm going to start in the middle. I'm going to use a little bit more bow. And then I'm going to stay in the upper half so I can be in the middle for this next start of the phrase. A little more bow. That same zigzag bowing we talked about previously, we're going to do here. So maybe it's 1 inch of bow, 2 inches, 3, 5. A lot of bow because there's a crescendo. So what's going to separate us from the beginners is that we're going to be really aware of our bow distribution. And if you have to write in your plan, maybe inches make sense, like inches of bow make sense to you. Maybe writing whole bow, half bow, stay near the tip, stay near the frog, maybe that makes sense to you. Everybody's going to find their own way of expressing this piece, and we have to be really aware that we can't do all of that with vibrato. And especially if you're just kind of developing your vibrato, you don't want to rely on just that to help you with your expression. So that said, our tutorial covered, we're going to go through our playthrough of the piece. My metronome marking is 66. I'm following what the piece recommends. And as you're doing your playthrough, really think about how much bow am I using? Did I use the same amount of bow this time as I did last time? We don't want that. We are doing the repeat, and I'll count to 4 and we'll begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. tutorial useful. If there's anything that I didn't cover that you're still wondering about, please post that in the comments below. I really enjoy trying to help from afar. As always, thank you so much for watching, for your support, and happy practicing. See you on the next one.